So my name is Anna Tam. I was born in 1940, October 16, in this little town near the Hong Kong called Tam Sui. And so this is my family. It is all my family, my father, my mother, and my sister and brother. And this my father is Leung Fong Fo, and he been passed away for 1968. So my mother, he live in Fremont, and his name is Yap Pei King. And this is my daughter Jenny. And this is my sister Julie and Leung Min Chiu. He live in New York. This is me, my son Peter, and my name is Leung Min Ying. And this my brother is Leung Min Tat. He live in Fremont, and his English name is called Joe. And this is my brother is Ben, is Leung Min Heng, and he live in San Jose. And also my sister Leung Min Wei is Anita. Is also live in San Jose. Yeah. My another sister Leung Min Lai, the maid, is still in Hong Kong, and almost done now.
Okay, one thing about your New York sister, is that New York City that she lives in?
New York City, yeah.
I see.
Portland.
Okay. Now I want to come back down to that home. There's a picture of. Now this was the home of your mother's parents, right?
Yeah. This is the home, the village, the hometown is my mother's parents. There's a little hillside and have a little cemetery in the front.
Now, your dad never lived there, you said.
My dad never lived there.
He lived in town.
Yeah.
Now, after your mother and father married, did your mother then go live in town with him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My mother lived in the town after they're born. But over 20 years, even never come back to the village.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, now Anna, I'd like you to tell us about both your parents.
Oh, my parents is married was 72. I was born 1940s. It's 2 years before they get married. My parents are married for the matchmaker because my father lived in the town, my mother lived in the village in the country. Yeah. So the matchmaker, they met that both together. They have a running around.
Did the matchmaker arrange for them to meet and have some time to be together?
Yeah, they have arranged them to meet together. Most of them, they make the boy have a go to the girl's place, and the girl is maybe standing somewhere else, and they not even know. Then they tell on the boy, "Hey, this one want to stand up one." So this.
So that was the custom in that area, right?
No, most of them in the whole country, China, in the whole country before.
I see.
Before the 1910, they have a go to the match. The girl don't go out, have a job or work. The place, no place to work. That you can meet together.
So before the modern era, the girls would stay home in the family area, and they had their work to do for the family, I think.
Yeah, they only have a homemaker. Don't know how to job to make money. So,
I see.
Yeah.
So how long had your parents known each other before they got married?
Well, I believe it's a short time. I don't know exactly how long.
A couple of months or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I see. And then, and you are the first child that came along. I see. And so tell us about your father and what he did and how it related to his father. Remember these?
Oh, my grandfather have 4 sons and 2 girls, and my grandfather have owned a different business in the town, and so and my father is work for the dad, for my grandfather. And after my grandfather died, and he gave one business to my dad to continue that. Yes, my dad was been in the town for a long time, and I was grew up in the town too with my father. Yeah.
So that business was what? What was the business?
Oh, this is like small hardware store, and still have another recycles business in the side.
Yeah, I think that's an important part, the idea that he was in recycling all those years ago. And so what things were important in recycling, or some of the items he made money on?
Well, it's a recycle means what the business you make, not just like it now, or because we are all have gone to recycles. I believe it by the time in the recycles, it's save the money, and you don't waste it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I grew up with it. Yeah.
I know. Didn't you say that he bought metal and glass, and then he'd turn around and sell them at a higher price? I think.
In the big city, they do have the melting all the glasses, melting all the metal, and they do some different thing, and also they have all like feather, cow bone.
I see.
Yeah,
And did your dad deal with all those, or did he just deal
Yeah.
with he dealt with all those? I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
And would he actually take those things to the places where they'd melt them down, or
Yeah.
they would saw them up?
Have
or
a factory, melting down it.
I
In the
see.
city, they do have a big recycle project.
I see.
And
See how far ahead the Chinese were on all these things? Of course, I think in Europe and in America they had some forms of those too. Yeah, so that's, and so your mom then was on the in the family homestead, I mean, in the family houses that her parents had when the matchmaker made the match for
Yeah.
those two. And who would pay the matchmaker? Would it be the daughters, the woman's parents?
They pay the matchmaker for the boy side of the family.
I see.
And then when they get married, all the parties, everything go to it's a boy side of the family. Yeah, because then they don't want the girl and have her go to the husband side and work. Means the mother is all the lost the ones. What do you call it?
She's losing a worker.
Yeah.
I see.
They're raised in like 18 years.
Yeah.
Most of them 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
And the boy, the parents, most of them have given sometimes given a chunk of money.
I see.
To show them the respect and appreciation.
I see. Well, did your mother get such a gift from the family, or?
By the time I believe it is so, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you were the first child born to your parents.
Yeah.
As the other children came along, you had some responsibilities for those, didn't you?
Yes,
You
I
helped.
do. I would do their laundry, take care of them, and
You said you carried them around.
I carry a lot.
And how would you carry? Would you carry them in your arms, or you have them?
Or carry in my bed. They have all this. They have a bit like tied it up. The baby in my bed. Well, but you can do so much in there. You can play. You can do. You just let them sleep a couple hours and you just walk around.
So that kept you from playing a lot. I mean, you had responsibilities from the time you were a little person, huh?
Yeah. Stay in the trouble.
Yes.
Bad thing.
Staying out of trouble. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, now you did go to school when you were, what, 7? I think
I
you were
was
saying.
7. Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about school in your village?
Well, we have elementary school by the time it's before communist, I started the elementary. So my father have to pay for the money to the school. And all the school kids were almost same age then, probably less 20 people in the class.
I see.
And we just more pray, we learning Confucius, and we learning all the old stuff, and
I think that's one of the most interesting things you've been telling about, how you were learning. You would write out things that Confucius, and so you were expected to learn this and accept the Confucian sayings and so forth, huh?
Yeah.
And it changed a lot when the communists took over.
Yeah, communists take off where they have studying a free education to the high school, and so we all the classmates, we have all the different age, the boy and the girl. So have a more little like people more. The boys, girl was all older than my age.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, what you were saying about the fact your father had to pay for your education. Anybody who went to school, there was a fee attached to it, right? So were there a number of kids in your area that didn't go to school because they couldn't pay for it?
Yeah, lots, especially on the farm. And the farm, they needed the children and helping them on the farm. Then not much opportunity to go to school.
And what was it?
Then communists came there. They do have an opportunity to go to school.
It kind of insisted that everybody go to school, and there was no fee attached at that time.
No fee attached.
Okay, when you were starting in school, were there like more boys than girls in your class?
Yeah, more boys, less than girls.
I see.
I only, first I know, only people one the girl. What me? We only have one friend. I only have one friend to grow up with.
I see.
Yeah.
One friend, one female friend.
Yeah,
huh?
female friend.
I see. Oh, great. And so you were describing to me earlier the schoolroom. Maybe you could say something about that. The fact there were like a couple of people at each table or something like that.
Yeah, it's we were two people and one there, one table.
Mm-hmm.
We have a shared table for it.
And did you have books that were supplied?
The books are supplied. We school don't give in. We have to pay for ourselves.
Oh, you had to buy the books.
Yeah, buy the book, buy the pencil, buy the thing,
I see.
the paper, and
all that stuff. It was something you had to buy separately, and when you were learning to make the characters to write in Chinese, did you use a brush or did you have a pen that you used?
We used the pen. It dumped in the
ink.
ink. So we used the pen. No. And then later on we used the pencil.
I see.
We used pencil and pen. Most of them have to do just two. And
I guess it was a little easier to use a pencil. I mean, it wasn't quite as messy, huh?
this pen is the same thing. It's easier, when you get used to it.
Yeah.
And usually we have a smash. So when the ink, they have a chocolate, loosen it up. And after this communist, by the time they have usually the bottle, like the liquid one.
I see. So after that time you had a kind of a solid ink, huh?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. And did you have to wet it?
Yeah.
I
we
see.
have to surround and rinse
see.
them, then melting up.
I
and
see.
they see how dark they're. And after 1950, then it all come in a bottle of liquid.
I see.
Yeah, so
I guess that was one of the steps forward that the communists were talking about. Okay.
Okay, somebody else.
You want to get that?
I'll get the book.
Okay, we're back, and you were telling me about I had asked you if you spoke your original Chinese was Mandarin or Cantonese, and you said it wasn't either. And so you want to tell me about that?
I speak a little bit of Mandarin, but for my original way to speak Hakka, and also I went to Hong Kong that time, and I learned how to speak the Cantonese.
So in Hong Kong, Cantonese is the dialect that was
Yeah.
the main one. In Beijing, it's Mandarin.
Okay, Mandarin.
But you grew up with Hakka.
Yeah.
So three dialects that you had to handle. That's really something. So tell me about family traditions or traditions that you'd follow during the year. I had been asking you about birthdays and whether they were important, and you were telling me.
On my birthday, I remember this. My birthday, I never getting so much excitement, and most of the time, every year, as my brother, sister, we have a birthday. My mom just put a boil each one.
Everybody gets a boiled egg, right?
Yeah.
And
by the time it's so happy, the egg is really call them expensive.
It was a precious thing to have, right? I bet. So if your brothers and sisters had their birthdays, would you all get another egg?
Yeah, we go have a boiled egg too.
Yeah. So that sounds good. So what other days were special in the calendar year for you?
Most special year on the calendar is one, the Mandarin Chinese New Year. Everybody celebrate. The parents will give you them the little red envelope for have money inside.
I see.
And before the day, New Year Eve, they already give you your apparel. And New Year's Day in the morning, you wake up, it's have money, So, and most of the happiness, all the kids by the time you have new clothes and new shoes and everything kind of new, they want to have a new day. And my father is a business closed up 15 days, and they were open. Which in and out.
15 days at New Year's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Until 15 days, then business we open it again.
I see.
And this is the most precious, happy time.
Sounds like it. I mean, that was a big investment to close up business for 15 days. That's pretty expensive vacation.
So everybody go visiting their parents, the parents are ongoing, and by the time have a lot of time. And traditional Chinese is a farm country,
Mm-hmm.
and Chinese New Year is just after that the rice is going down, potato and everything, so sad, It's and winter is cold. It's time to celebrate.
That's right. It sounds like a good time for everybody. Well, that's great. And then you were talking about Memorial Days.
Yeah, we do have 2 Memorial Day of the year. One in the March, April, March. One in the September. Memorial Day we have all the family and the father and uncle, and we go into this and pay the respect to our grandparents, and then after that we come home and we have a big dinner. So and beside that then we have like Moon Day. Chinese calendar is August 15th. By the time the moon is close by to the earth, so that day particular you see the moon is much bigger than the Memorial Day,
I see. So that's the one day during the year, the Moon Day.
Yeah. So it's some in the business people also celebrate and the first day in the month, and the middle of the day that are 15 in the month.
Oh, yeah?
And that 2 times is get all the work people and the working and the employee, and they have a big dinner for just like 2 times a month.
Oh, that
that
sounds like quite a bit of partying to me.
Yeah.
Twice a month you have a big dinner. Does the employer put that on, or do everybody bring things?
No. Everything is the boss the boss put
I see.
put for it.
Boy, that sounds like that could be another expensive time for the boss.
Yeah, in the China we we don't have the or like I said minimum wages,
Mhm.
you know, and most of them there you pay for the worker is much cheaper than you don't.
Yeah, so then the
Yeah.
boss would have enough money for those dinners. I bet.
Pay your shoes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to cover. I know that you were born during the war.
Yeah.
During the war, and I wanted to know how that affected your family. I mean, do you remember any situations where your family was restricted from doing things by the Japanese? Or?
I was born in 1940, and by the time it started war already, and my younger time I was a baby. I don't know. I don't remember anything
course,
else. And I know my father tells me, and they always hide in the tunnel, and when they have a silence, they always have a high. And I do remember in 1945, I was 5 years old, and I was staying with my grandma in the countryside. But countryside, they still live in a few Japanese. And one day, I know it. The grandma tells me is that we need to go out. We need to go outside. And my grandma puts me go outside, and I heard the gunshot. Then I saw that all the aunt and uncle, everybody cried. By the time I was very scared in my life, like in my memory.
I'll bet.
And
so you were being pushed outside because the Japanese wanted everybody outside, and so you, with everybody else, had to go outside. And who was it what was the shooting about?
they're shooting at one young man, and we don't know what's about it.
I see.
I never asking for it, and I
I
don't know
see.
what's about it.
Yeah, they were basically executing him for something he had done.
Mhm.
I see. And then of course the war ended in 45, and then did the Japanese just kind of disappear quickly, or?
Mhm. Yeah, they disappeared. They said we don't see the Japanese anymore. Then by the time the Chinese the call them Revolution War and Personal War, that's communists and
Kuomintang?
yeah,
Or
the-
something like that.
and Chiang Kai-shek,
Yeah.
and they call them Republican in China, and Taiwan. The
Yeah.
was a government in Taiwan.
Yeah.
And by the time we have lots of fighting, and when I grew up, we have a silence in the school, and once in a while then have all the silence and we're gonna go home. Seemed like it get used to it.
You mean because there was warfare going on around
Yeah.
you? I see. So they
The-
sent all the kids home.
Yeah, the army is come and go.
I see. Yeah.
Come and go, then come in and go. It's like,
Did you hear explosions, gunfire, anything like that during that
I
time?
heard a lot of gunfire.
I see.
Yeah. Well, we are this town only 10,000 people, not many. It's not also it's not in the main parts the
Not,
country.
not on the roads where
Yeah.
the armies
Mhm.
would be traveling, perhaps. Huh? That's really interesting. So, your father wasn't involved in the
No.
fighting or in the struggle
No,
in any way.
my
yeah.
father, no.
So now that the communists took over in like 1949, I think they.
Yeah, 1949.
And so, how did that affect your family?
After communists came, I remember telling you my father have a recycle business, and by the time and after war, that's the people really poor, and they selling everything they got at the value at home. It's really fed into my father's business, and by the time our business is very booming, very busy. Also, by the time I'm only about 10 years old, 9 years old, I worked very hard for helping my dad.
So you helped your dad,
Yeah.
and I knew that you said you had helped him right from the beginning, right from the time you were a little girl. So
Yeah.
what sorts of things did you do to help him?
Just a little thing helping, and the people say, oh, I want a pound for the needle, or I want 2 bags of the cement, and I helping them catch the money and helping do you carry out some
see.
just a little thing at home. Then also I have to take care of my brother, sister, and just hang out. And then this, by the time it's the school time,
Sure.
it's
Well,
still
you told me
still
that-
praying and working.
Sure. And you said that at one point, even when you were a little girl, you had something about things being loaded into a barge or into a boat, or maybe into a railroad car or truck or something, and you kept track of them
Oh.
with. Can you describe that?
Oh, when
again?
I was kind of like 10 years old, and my father wanted me see my father the recycle business, and they have a ship it out to the big city, and the city have about almost 1 day to travel. So we have a travel by the truck, when we don't have bus at this time, we sit in the side of the truck, and then they will and go to the Shenzhen. One town have a railroad, have a train, and we train to the city, and I do have seasick all the time, car sick or some, and then all my dad have used this little suitcase stuck in all the old newspaper, and I have a carrier in case I need it. I speak on it, to blow up on that still.
You
I
put it in the suitcase, right?
Yeah,
You throw
put
it in the suitcase.
Yeah, and I remember at that time, So when I go to the city, then my dad visiting all the business people, and most of them they give me the ice cream sitting in the corner, and yeah, it's just my father. Then by the
So it sounds like you and your father were pretty close, that you worked together and that he depended upon you.
I believe that by the time I said, I'm the older child, so he is. He don't have nobody try, and so continue no boy. Yeah, most of the time he treat me is like a boy, and he don't allow me do all the knitting, sewing, those kind.
He didn't want you to waste your time on that, huh?
Oh yeah.
In fact, you were telling me that you were making something, you were sanding something, or making some good chopsticks
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And what did he do when he found that you were doing that?
Because my cousin making the sweater, I want to learn that. So
Oh, you mean knitting a sweater?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to learn that, and I have used the bamboo and sew, so shook it up like the chopstick for it. And my dad said, "No, you don't have no time to do that." She bending down my bamboo, dumped it away. He said, "You got more time to do it, more in what's like a more interesting, important thing to do." That's why I grew up more like a tomboy. I don't have much.
You had that responsibility put
Yeah.
on you, that you were the oldest child, and so you were, and boy or girl, you were going to do those important things. Yeah, that's. I think
That's why when I was 17, he sent me to Hong Kong. I escaped China to Hong Kong, and he tells me, he said, "Son, you get your feet on ground. You have to look up to your brother and sister."
Look up to your brothers, or you look after them.
Yeah.
You look after. Oh yeah,
After your
yeah. I was going to
brother,
say
sister.
they are all actually had to look up to you because you were the oldest and you were going to be
Yeah.
taking care of them, and that we are going to definitely cover that famous trip to Hong Kong. But I wanted to see. Let me just turn this off for now. Okay, here we have Anna and her picture of herself at the age of 17. And tell us about your father wanting you to go to Hong Kong and how you had this picture taken and so forth.
Oh, it's starting in 1957. I was 17, and the school is not allowed to go to school anymore. So my father, the business also is not allowed. We run it, you know. Government have a partner get into my father's business. So my father tells me, he said, you have to go, now is the time to go now. You know. So at 17, I skipped to China, to Hong Kong.
So,
and this picture I took up 2 days before I make a trip.
2 days, that's really amazing. And I was going to, I thought that the communists wanted to provide an education for all the boys and girls right through high school.
But they change have a revolution every year. The government have a change all the different I would say different project, different thing. The communists, Chairman Mao want to control everybody, rich and poor, and you're good and bad. See, in 1968, 1968, they have a cultural revolution. What did Chairman Mao do? He killed them all the people before the fan or the soldier, and those high quarter the government people we were helping the Chairman Mao get the country. After Chairman Mao get the country in 1968, he killed every one of them.
Yeah, everybody has heard various stories about the Cultural Revolution. It must have been really a kind of a scary time to be there.
And I have this the book, and this soldier was a general or something. It's a very high. Before they was fighting all the war, they almost died. You know, been 30 years helping the Chairman Mao get the seat. After that, 1968, he killed every one of them.
Yeah,
This common.
pretty shocking. Pretty shocking.
So now still have communists. Why nobody have followed this Chairman Mao's step? It's because of the different people, different ideas.
Yeah, it's a pretty different. It's a different communism than the communism that you had to experience. So, when you left for Hong Kong, had you finished high school?
No.
What I realized.
After that, I left China. After that, the school that's it, and okay, 7th grade.
Grade 7, you say? Yeah, of course. Grade 7 there may be very different from grade 7 in America. I don't know. It may have been much farther along. So
I believe for my experience of myself, I learned anything because in the society. I didn't learn anything from the school. Yeah. I learned in what I lived.
You learned from living and from working in various places. Okay.
Yeah, so like this.
Okay, we're going to have another session, and I would like to go back, kind of circle back to your time in China, and just cover some of the things we didn't cover the first time. Your Chinese name is Ming Ying, and you share the middle name Ming with all of your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So what does Ming itself mean?
Ming is more like a bright. Brightest,
brightness,
yeah, brightest, and my Ying is more like the
leader.
So like the leadership and the intelligence.
I see.
That's the way.
And didn't you tell me too that Ying was used by Mao Zedong himself, or people referred to him with Ying?
Oh, yeah, this, and they compared about Dr. Mao Zedong, and means he's so good the leadership. They use the yin. That's why I know that.
I see. Now, you told me that your mother's family had lived in that area outside the city, in the countryside, had lived for a long time. How long did you figure that it had been?
Possibility have like a 10 generation for my
10
mother's side.
generation is really a long time. So they were really established in that area. Now, your father hadn't been living that long in the city, though, had he?
No, my father lived in Tamshui. Probably 2 generations ago. My grandpa and my father
I see.
and us, my 3 generations.
I see. Great. Okay, now, the family home, I guess we're talking about Tam Shui now. Did that house have electricity?
After communists came at, let me see, after the Sun Chung-san, Sun Yat-sen, for the, after that, there was a Qing dynasty. They cleared up the Qing dynasty. By the time they already have electricity, but we pay by the how many light bulb you home.
I see.
That you gotta pay for it.
I see. And but by the time the communists took over, was electricity common in in that city?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have electricity.
Okay.
Then we don't have a water pipe, and we have to carry the water from the river.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that you have to carry the water from the river, and that was one of your jobs sometimes. And but out in the country where your mother came from and your grandparents still lived, I guess, they had a well. Is that what you said?
Yeah, they are well for everybody else. The
see.
well, the water is so clear, nice.
Very nice
Yeah,
water.
more cleaner than the river.
I see. Now, was that a well that everybody in that village used? I see.
Yeah,
I see.
they're all for everybody else.
Now, in Tam Shui, did you have indoor toilets in the house?
One time, we do have some indoor toilet that close by the kitchen side. We have a saw, This the what do you call them? The dirty water go there.
Oh yeah, kind of a sewer.
Yeah,
see.
we have a sewer in our kitchen. We do have.
I see.
In most of them, we go in the public, the bathroom, and for the little kid or some kind of for the sick people, we maybe use it because it uses a lot of water to care up.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how about telephones? Did you have a telephone?
No, we don't
in
have a
Tam Shui?
telephone.
So, what could you use if you had to notify?
No, I have a popular telecom, the office.
Telegraph office.
Telegraph
I
office,
see.
yeah.
So you could. That was one way you could get word out. Okay. You said that you went with your father to sell some of the materials that he had collected.
Yeah.
That was part of his
To
business.
recycle. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you went into the city to sell those materials, what did he tell you he didn't want you doing?
Oh, because we reach more the new city more like a countryside. I never been this big city, so my dad is try warning me. Said you don't. When you go down there, you're not embarrassing me. You keep looking at all the light, all the people, and, Then, so it's people look at you and know you come from country. You are the country girl.
So he didn't,
So
he didn't
anyway.
want you embarrassing him that way, right?
So yeah, so he want me to be you just look at me, when I still really short, so that I just look at the pen, and the black pen can follow them, I remember.
That is pretty funny. Okay, now you sometimes, you sometimes help your parents in the store, and you were telling me that one of the things you did was get some meds and medicines that your dad was giving away. Now, you were using some of those pills you had over there to demonstrate how
Okay.
you.
I had that, let me say that. Those, the Chinese pill, most come from the powder. They're not do the individuals one pill. They're just all the powder. We use this spoon or the scoop.
I
You
see.
see this one in a glass jar. You
Uh-huh.
open up for it there, and for the diarrhea. This the country people, they come in there asking the medicine. They don't need to go see it, and
So it was usually in powder form, you say?
not using the powder.
I
It's not
see.
the pill. It's not the powder, and so they do have like 2 scoop. So it means you 2 times you take the whole, you divide it,
I see.
and 1 time, 2 times you take it. And for me, I use it for at home. I fold it up. So that's why they handing out to the people.
I see.
And my father giving it for free, And
This is like a goodwill gesture on
Mhm.
his part.
yeah,
These are his customers, and he wanted them to, be happy with him.
yeah. My father liked helping people. And also my father had lots of friends, lots of the male friends.
Mm-hmm.
And also every month, they do have a party just for 16 people, sometimes at home,
Boy.
and we just cook for them. And also we, by the time my father's a business, they have a lot of men working for it. So most of them, the man is really strong, helping the business. And Chinese, the tradition. When you own a business, you gotta have a lot of people helping you, and you can't do it by yourself.
Sure. You also have to
Yeah.
have lots of customers.
Yeah, lots of
Too,
customers.
and that's certainly one good way of keeping customers. Okay, when you were going to school, let's say, when you were living in Tam Shui, what would be the usual routine in the morning? What time would you get up, and would you have some chores to do, and before you went off to school? And
Our school started at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Boy.
Most of them get up, it's still dark, about 5. And then we walk to the school then we have outside the school, they have a little, what's it called, individual, there's little people that they cook some as like breakfast thing.
I see, so you had breakfast at school?
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
then you gotta pay for it, not the
Mhm.
breakfast, the school is not there. And we eat there, and then by the time I go to school, my dad, my mom, everybody's still sleeping.
I see. So you were the only one up if you were the only one going
Yeah,
to school?
yeah.
That is really interesting. So what time in the afternoon, or when did school end for you?
About 9 o'clock in the morning, call it the lunchtime,
I see.
and 9 or 10 o'clock, they let you go home about a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went home, and after I had my lunch, and I then have to go to the river carry the water.
I see.
And after I carry water, sometimes I have a spending time, then I do the laundry, get the
Mhm.
get the clothing, go to wash in the river. And at the 1 o'clock, they have to go back to school.
I see.
1 o'clock, they go to the school, then maybe have 2 hours. Then 5 o'clock, you gotta go to school, go back to home, go back home for your dinner. And but this is called elementary school. After the little bit like fifth grade, fourth grade, you get a little bit older, and this school they have in the nighttime. After the dinner time, you can go back to school and do your homework. The teacher will help you in there. The
Right.
teacher, most of the teacher living in the school.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
the teacher would almost have to live there if you
Yeah.
arrived sometime after, or arrived by 6 o'clock. You had your breakfast there, then you went to school, and you came home, came back. Boy, it sounds like that's a full-time job. Now, you were also telling me about some pets you had
I do
when
have
you were
pet, yeah.
growing up. Can you tell us a little bit about your pets?
I have a little pet, what we call them small feet, little feet. And he have three this is white feet, and one is a black feet, Really cute.
Now, what kind of animal was this?
Pig.
Oh, this is a pig,
Yeah.
okay. This is a pig.
So it's get used to for the we didn't like go to bathroom, go pick. We take him to the bathroom, and he get used to it when she wanna go to the bathroom, and at night time or daytime he wanna go. He couldn't go to the front door. He gonna put you the mouth, the nose,
Yeah.
and he and catch up all the
He
make all the noise.
He'd grunt, kind
Yeah.
of grunt, and tell you that he needed to get out.
Yeah, just so we open the door, he go to the running out and the bathroom, he come back home. It's by the time I don't know how long, kind of few months, and he getting older and get bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they grow until they're,
Then my father sell them to somebody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you were telling me, now you also had a dog, I think you were saying. Did you have a dog at one
Yeah,
time?
we have a dog. This is a Chinese dog, and my father gave it to somebody else, more than 10 miles away,
Mm-hmm.
and he always come back.
Oh,
He
really?
always walk back there.
I've heard of that many times happening, yeah. So, let's see. Now, you were talking about getting water from the river, but you told me also that you loved swimming in the river. So,
Yeah.
can you say something about that?
Oh, my cousin always makes me my second uncle, the son, and the boy don't do the housework, carries the waters, and most of them the girl do that, and he always go in the swimming, try catching catch the fish or something, and so sometimes I just swimming with them. We just dive in the water and come out of the tree and jump down.
So you jump out of the tree into the water.
Yeah.
Okay, you said something interesting there, that the boys didn't have the same chores that the girls did, carrying the water and so forth. Did you feel that they had fewer chores to do than you?
Well, by the time I grew up, this is more like a normal, The boy is treat them differently. I said, like, oh, this is normal, All the work is what the girl do the work. Or at home I do the dishes. And my brother never did the dishes.
So you felt you were really, you were doing all these chores at home, and the boys didn't have that many chores to do. They were just waiting to grow up and get a job. or
And be
something.
boss.
And be boss, right? Oh, yes.
But we get used to it. I don't know what's the difference. It seems like, oh, you're a girl, you gotta do this. Seems like you're born with it,
Yeah. Well, I think in those days, it almost came as a birthright to being a girl.
Especially coming in USA, I learn more than I know how to fight,
That's good. Now, you actually swam. Now, did somebody teach you to swim, or were you just playing
No,
around in
this
the
is
water?
normal in that,
Just kind of
Yeah.
playing in
Right.
the water.
Yeah, sometimes I talk to my father, he said, we go swimming, he said, you gotta watch out, you two hands, you touch the ground, it's safe.
He was being very practical. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, and tell us a little bit about your father. You said something about he was a funny person.
Yeah, he's a funny person. Yeah. My father is always, when you ask them question, he don't strictly tell you what is the answer, and makes you thinking, oh, what is that? The thing after you thinking a while, and you laughing, and he look at you, he said, oh, you get it, it seems like you are smarter.
He would kind of use humor to tell you things.
Yeah.
I see. And you were telling me that if he told you a story and you had heard the story before,
Yeah.
and you said that, what would he do?
You're not allowed to talk back. Say, I already heard it. No, you're not allowed to talk. You still continue to hear that. You say, oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, you keep nodding your head as if you hadn't heard it before.
Even 10 times you say, oh yeah, it's funny.
And how about your mom? Was she as funny as he?
No, my mother is he more serious person, and he never tell a joke and and only thing I know my mom here was screaming at, you gotta do that, do this. Why you don't do that? Why is it? My mother has become more like a boss. Sometimes I say, talk to my dad. I say, my mother's always did that. My dad said, don't say it. Your mother used to be a teacher, Before he married, he was a teacher,
She was a teacher? Or he was a teacher?
She was a teacher.
She was a teacher.
Probably in the countryside.
Yeah.
Probably before he young, the parents sent him to school. Then all after that, in the whole village, nobody know. Or the wood, probably us and teacher or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably not, no.
Could be. Okay. Now, the cooking arrangements in your home. We're talking about food now. Who did the cooking when you were at home?
Most of my father do the cooking. And after the communists, they closed the temple. No more people for the rigid pray and like that. And the man is working the temple before. He came to my house and my father adopted him to be the cook.
I see.
But my father don't trust the way he cook, He just most of the time he just do the thing, do the chopping or the washing.
He was the prep cook.
Yeah, most of my father do cook. When I go to the city, when we take my father in the city, he always stay at the restaurant, the seat close to the kitchen. When they have all the bull seat close to the kitchen. After that, he's sitting down. He go talk to the kitchen. There's the cook or chef, and they learn how to cook. And he said close to the kitchen, the food more harder and tastes better. And he couldn't yaki with all the men couldn't how to cook what is more fresh. And after he came home, he do the same thing and cook at home for people we enjoy.
So he would check out how to cook these various things.
Yeah.
And
My father is a good cook though.
I'll bet.
He got a lot of fans always coming over for party.
That's funny. Okay, now you were also talking about family meals and how, you had children and adults and old people in the same household. Did they all eat at the same time, or?
Yeah, we eat the same. A lot louder. The children, you cannot, get your plate first. Most of it, you have a rice bowl. You sit it down, wait for everybody come, and so that the older people is like my father and the aunt, uncle, this, and said, okay, we can eat now. Then we could start eating.
I see.
And also, when you eat, you have put it up have a lot of rule. You know, you don't need it. You cannot use the chopstick to push up in the table. You know, and I see like a chopstick cuts on the table. No can do that. You use the chopstick. You have a hold on your hand. Make sure two of them is even.
I see.
And you use it when you have a pick up a food and from the prey, from the food is close by you the side.
I see.
You cannot reach over other side.
You reach over, that's kind of impolite, is that what you're saying?
Impolite,
And you're
yeah.
saying that the chopsticks are supposed to be even in your hand.
No, yeah, even you put this.
Yeah, I see, the ends of the chopsticks.
Yeah,
should
you
be-
see, you put it up there, even
Yeah.
your hand by hand.
Like that.
You cannot put it to the. No, can't do that. Just make noise.
Yeah, you don't want to, that would be a lot of clacking, I would think. All right, very good. All right, now, a little bit about, I'd like to kind of go back to a few details about when during the war, because you were talking about the Japanese, there were some sirens that were used during the war to warn people to do something, and what was that?
For no, that's not the Japanese. I don't know too much. Well, I was born in 1940. Okay?
I know.
I only know the one in 1945. Only one time in my memory.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay.
So then all the silence are coming from the prisoner of war and the Chairman Mao and Chiang Kai-shek. Yeah, though, and so when they see the bombing or the airplane is coming fighting down, and a time they have a silence and coming from the air, so we couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear it. So the town only like 10,000 people. Not too big a lot. From like Santa Cruz, you know, Santa
Yeah.
Cruz is downtown, this area, and then one that has silence is already heard it. You know,
Sure.
not too far away.
So people would then leave their homes and they would go where if they heard the
Oh,
sound?
we have a tunnel at the tunnel.
I see.
And not too long, going to so long. Long as the tunnel is hide it in the tunnel and avoid all the bomb to you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, this when by the time it's just what the communists
Yeah.
do that, yeah.
Okay, so that was a way for the people to protect themselves
Yeah.
in the event that the various sides that were warring with each other were.
I heard that the tunnel is coming from before the people hired for Japanese.
I see.
Yeah.
So it had probably been used in the war, yeah. But you don't have any memory yourself of
No,
using
I
that.
by the time I probably like baby, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, at the end of the war, you told me that when the Japanese left, people didn't celebrate.
No.
They didn't have any celebrations, and you said that had something to do with people not knowing who their friends were in the area.
And right after the Japanese go back to Japan somewhere or another, then a communist is they fight each other. You know.
So there
we
was.
don't have a rest.
Yeah, you didn't have any rest after the Japanese were gone. Then the Chinese were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Really.